Imagine a river at sunrise. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't hesitate. It doesn't try to flow backward. It simply moves. And in its movement, there is no rush and no delay, only a continuous, gentle flow forward. Life works in exactly the same way. Even if you stop, sit on the shore and say, "Wait, I'm not ready," the river keeps going. Not because it's against you, but because movement is its nature. Most people spend their whole lives waiting for the moment when life will finally stop changing. We wait for stability to arrive in work, in relationships, in ourselves, but that is like waiting for the ocean to stop making waves. If it ever truly did, it would die. Everything that stops changing begins to decay. The river becomes stagnant, the tree dries up, and a person becomes a shadow of who they once were. Still, we cling to the illusion of control. We believe we can keep things exactly as they were yesterday. The person who stood beside us, the feelings that warmed us, the image of ourselves we carefully constructed. Deep down, we think that if we just hold on tightly enough, the past will stop slipping away. But time is not a rope you can grip. It is a current that moves through you. Alan Watts once said, "We do not come into this world. We come out of it. We are not separate from the world. We are the world experiencing itself." If this is true, then resisting change is like one wave trying to stop the entire ocean. It can rise higher, fall lower, but it remains part of the same movement. What we call chaos or uncertainty is simply the natural rhythm of reality. Think about it. Not a single moment of your life has ever been identical to the one before it. Even the days that felt the same were woven from new thoughts, new sensations, new breaths. Every inhale is a tiny shift. Every moment is a small step into the unknown. And yet, we fear change more than pain itself. We fear losing control. But the truth is, we never had control to begin with. Your task is not to figure out every bend in the river, but to notice its flow and stop fighting it. Because the moment you stop resisting, something shifts. Your muscles loosen, your breath deepens, the internal noise softens, and suddenly a quiet understanding appears. Life was never trying to hurt you. It was simply asking you to follow. Look at the world around you. Nothing in nature ever remains exactly the same. A leaf grows, changes color, falls. A cloud forms, drifts, dissolves. A wave rises, curls, disappears back into the sea. There is no single moment of stillness in the entire universe. Even the mountains, which seem unmoving, are slowly shifting, eroding, reshaping over ages. Change is not an interruption in life. It is life. Alan Watts often said, "The only way to make sense of change is to plunge into it, move with it, and join the dance." He wasn't offering poetic comfort. He was describing the fundamental truth of existence. Everything that exists is in motion. Nothing is solid. Nothing is permanent. Not your thoughts, not your fears, not even the person you were yesterday. Yet we treat change as if it were some rare event, something that happens only occasionally, only when life acts up. But change is happening constantly, in your breath, in your heartbeat, in your cells dividing and dying, in your mind generating new thoughts, while old ones fade like ripples in a pond. The illusion is that things stay the same. The reality is that we simply don't notice how quickly everything moves. Consider water. If you scoop a handful from a river and look at it, you might think you're holding something tangible. But the moment you open your fingers, it slips away. It wasn't the same water for even a millisecond. It was always moving, always replacing itself. Life works the same way. You think you are holding on to a moment, a certainty, a version of yourself. But the moment you loosen your grip, you discover it was never yours to keep. It was passing through you. People suffer not because things change, but because they expect them not to. We believe that relationships should stay steady, passions should remain constant, success should be permanent, but these expectations are fantasies, stories we tell ourselves to avoid confronting the truth that nothing in existence is fixed. Change does not come to destroy you, it comes to show you what is real, and the real is always fluid. Imagine the ocean again. No wave complains about not looking like the previous one. No wave tries to freeze itself into a perfect shape. Each one rises, dances for a moment, and falls back into the vastness it came from. There is beauty in its impermanence, not tragedy. The more closely you observe life, the more you realize that the current is always present. Even when things feel stagnant, when you feel stuck, lost, confused, beneath the surface there is a movement you may not yet see. Your mind evolves, your emotions shift, your circumstances rearrange themselves in ways that only become clear later. Change is not the enemy. It is the invisible hand shaping your path when you cannot do it yourself. If you understand this, something remarkable happens. You stop seeing change as chaos and start seeing it as the natural rhythm of existence, as the pulse of life moving through you. To flow with change is not weakness, it is wisdom. The wisdom of the river, the wisdom of the seasons, the wisdom of everything that lives and transforms. There is a simple truth that most people never realize. We don't suffer because life changes. We suffer because we resist the changes that life naturally brings. It's not the flow of the river that hurts us. It's the way we cling to the rocks. From childhood, we're taught to believe in permanence, find stability, hold on to what you love, build a life that never collapses. But the moment we attach ourselves to something as if it must stay forever, a person, a feeling, a job, an identity, we create the very conditions for suffering. Because everything we cling to will eventually shift, move, transform, or fade. Not because life is cruel, but because that is the nature of all things that exist. Imagine trying to hold the ocean still with your hands. The tighter you grasp, the more it slips through your fingers. Life behaves the same way. The moment you try to control it resists your control. Not out of defiance, but because life is movement, and you are trying to turn movement into stone. Pain is always the result of resistance. The moment you stop resisting, the pain disappears. He wasn't saying that life becomes easy. He was saying that struggle is optional. Suffering is optional. The river doesn't need your permission to flow, but you can learn how to float instead of drowning beneath its current. Think about fear. Fear is rarely about what is happening. Fear is almost always about what might happen. It is the mind trying to protect a version of reality that no longer exists. We suffer because we insist that the world remain the way it used to be, even when it clearly isn't. People don't fear the unknown, they fear losing the known. We fear the end of a relationship, not because love ends, but because we constructed an identity around it. We fear losing a job, not because we can't find another, but because we attached our worth to the role. We fear aging, not because time harms us, but because we resist the truth that every moment of existence is transition. Resistance creates tension. Tension becomes stress. Stress becomes suffering. It is not change that overwhelms us. It is the mental argument we have with reality. But here's the paradox. The moment you stop fighting what is, something miraculous happens. Your mind softens, your breath deepens, your body stops bracing for disaster. And suddenly you feel a quiet relief, a sense of spaciousness, because you're no longer fighting the very nature of life. Surrender is not defeat. It's understanding the futility of trying to stop the tide with your hands. It's realizing that the universe has been moving long before you were born and will continue long after you're gone. You don't have to control the flow to be part of it. When you release resistance, you don't lose control. You gain freedom. You become lighter, more flexible, more open to the unexpected beauty that change can bring. You stop living as a prisoner of fear and become a participant in the dance of existence. Because suffering is not created by life. Suffering is created by the insistence that life should not be what it is. There is a quiet intelligence in the way water moves. It doesn't resist the rocks in its path. It embraces them, slides around them, reshapes itself without losing its essence. This is the wisdom Alan Watts often spoke of, the understanding that life is not something you battle, but something you participate in. When you stop resisting change, you don't become passive. You become aligned with the natural rhythm of existence. You start noticing that solutions appear more easily, not because life becomes simpler, but because your mind is no longer cluttered with fear and control. Clarity emerges when resistance fades. Watts said that we are not separate beings struggling against the world. We are the world, experiencing itself through a human perspective. This means that the same intelligence that moves the tides, grows the forests, and shapes the clouds is also moving through you. And when you accept this, a remarkable thing happens. Life stops feeling like an opponent and starts feeling like a partner. The flow of life isn't something outside of you, it's within your breath, your heartbeat, your intuition. Every time you let go of a rigid expectation, you create space for natural movement to guide you. You begin to trust the deeper current beneath your thoughts, the one that quietly knows where you need to go, long before your mind figures it out. Letting life move through you doesn't mean giving up preferences or dreams. It means releasing your grip on how things must unfold. It's the difference between forcing a door open and noticing the one that is already unlocked. When you surrender to the flow, you begin to feel a strange, calm strength. Not the tense strength of control, but the effortless strength of alignment. You stop pushing against life and start moving with it, like a leaf carried effortlessly by the river it once tried to fight. This is the wisdom of flow. The understanding that life becomes smoother, not when you dominate it, but when you trust its movement enough to let it guide you. Understanding the nature of change is one thing, living in harmony with it is another. But you don't need grand practices or spiritual rituals to align yourself with life's flow. It begins with small, subtle shifts in awareness, simple gestures that open space inside you. The first step is noticing when you are forcing life. Whenever you feel tension, frustration, or the urge to control every outcome, pause for a moment. Observe your breath. Notice how your body tightens when you insist that things must go a certain way. This awareness alone softens the grip of resistance. You cannot flow with life if you are busy wrestling it. The second step is allowing emotions to move. Most suffering comes not from the emotion itself, but from the attempt to suppress it. Fear, sadness, uncertainty, these are not enemies. They are waves passing through your inner ocean. If you let them rise and fall naturally, they leave as quietly as they came. Feelings are meant to flow, not be trapped. The third step is holding goals lightly. You can still dream, plan, and work toward what you want, but avoid demanding a specific route. Life often leads you to the right place through unexpected paths. Trust that detours have their own intelligence. What looks like delay may be alignment. The fourth step is cultivating presence. The mind loves to run into the future or cling to the past, but the flow of life exists only here, in the immediacy of this moment. Breathe into now. Feel your feet on the ground. Notice the way the world moves around you without your effort. Presence reconnects you to the natural rhythm you've forgotten. Finally, practice trust, not blind belief, but an inner loosening. Trust that life has carried you through every moment so far. Trust that you have survived everything you once feared. Trust that the same intelligence that moves stars and seasons also moves you. Living in rhythm with change isn't about becoming perfect. It's about becoming open to new shapes, new directions, new versions of yourself, the ones that emerge when you stop controlling every detail and start participating in the unfolding. As the river widens and the sun sinks toward the horizon, something becomes clear. Life never asked you to conquer it. It never demanded that you hold everything together, or predict every change, or make the world bend to your will. Life asked for something far simpler, yet far more profound: to let yourself be carried. There is a profound peace that arises when you stop insisting that reality match your expectations. Suddenly, the weight you've been carrying, the fear of the unknown, the pressure to control, the tension of trying to hold on, begins to dissolve. You feel lighter, not because life has become easier, but because you are no longer resisting its natural movement. Alan Watts often reminded us that we are not separate spectators watching life unfold from a distance. We are life, the very universe expressing itself through a temporary shape, a temporary story, a temporary name. And just like every wave returns to the ocean, every moment eventually returns to the vastness from which it came. There is no tragedy in this, only rhythm. When you relax into the flow, you stop identifying with the parts of yourself that are always changing, your thoughts, your roles, your expectations. Instead, you begin to sense the deeper layer beneath it all, the quiet, observing presence that remains untouched by the ups and downs of life. That stillness is not separate from you. It is you. It is the part of you that has never been broken, never been lost, never been in danger. Letting life flow through you doesn't mean giving up. It means giving in to the deeper intelligence that guides all things. The same force that turns seeds into forests and tides into waves is moving through your existence right now. When you trust it, you begin to walk through life with a kind of gentle confidence, a soft strength that doesn't come from control, but from alignment. So breathe, loosen your grip, watch the river of life move, not around you, but as you. You are not the one trying to stay afloat, you are the current itself. And once you realize this, something remarkable happens. You stop fearing change, because you understand that change is not a threat. It is your nature. You are movement. You are transformation. You are the flow that cannot be stopped.